What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Thoughts, and we're gonna check out what happened to Def Jam Game. Now, listen to me and listen to me good, okay? If you didn't grow up during the EA big era of video games, you missed out. I'm sorry to tell you, you missed out on SSX, you missed out on NBA Street, NFL Street, and more importantly, the game we about to talk about today in Def Jam. And I'm just talking about Vendetta and Fight for New York. The third one, we don't talk about that one. That was hot garbage juice. One of the most disappointing days in my life when it comes to video games. But when it comes to the games that I did like, I loved it. It was a legendary experience, but I just never knew what happened to make it go away. So hopefully we find out here in this video. Before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. Let go.
The early 2000s was a great time to be a gamer. We had all kinds of unique, creative, and strange games being released. As for sports, we had skateboarding games, extreme sports games, and racing games with celebrity cameos. Then Electronic Arts thought of a crazy but good idea that no one saw coming. What if famous rappers fought each other in wrestling matches? That idea became the Def Jam video game series. Those games became one of the most memorable fighting franchises of all time. Well, besides one of them.
Don't even mention it. Don't even mention it. Don't make me mad, bro. It's too early in the morning to be mad. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
For a few years, Def Jam games mixed wrestling, hip-hop, and street fighting into something that was fresh and unique. The games looked great. They played well, and they featured some of the biggest names in music, or should I say, hip-hop. I love these games right along with everyone else who were fans of rap, and guess what? The critics did too. But the series lost its identity and the sales dropped and fans moved on. Now sit back and let me tell you a quick story about the rise and fall of the Def Jam video games. This story begins in 2003 with Def Jam Vendetta. Now when you first see this game, it looked like another wrestling game. And that made sense because it came from AKI Corporation, the same studio behind classic games like WWF No Mercy on the Nintendo 64. Those games...
Bro, the AKI engine is legendary. Legendary. Like you said, it was behind No Mercy. All the legendary wrestling games for N64 for, all of them actually. Because you had No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, WCW versus NWO Revenge. There's one more I can't remember right now because I'm sleepy. But also, they did the Ultimate Muscle game in GameCube. And all of those games, including this, were great games. I wonder what happened to them.
Had earned a loyal following because they focused on fun gameplay instead of complicated controls. You know, all of the stuff that should matter. Electronic Arts wanted to use that same formula with a different theme. Instead of professional wrestlers, the roster featured hip-hop artists signed to Def Jam Recordings. So you could fight as Method Man, Redman, Ludacris, DMX, Nor, Ghostface Killah, and a lot more. The game also included original characters and a simple story mode where players climbed the ranks of an underground fighting scene. Yeah, this idea did sound a little strange, but...
Fighting as Joe Budden, like looking back at it now, given the success of his podcast, just seems crazy to me.
It worked because, like I said, this was what the early 2000s was all about. The fighting felt pretty smooth and satisfying. Every punch carried weight. Grapples looked brutal, and special moves could end a match in fashion. The game sold well and received strong reviews, and players loved seeing rappers for the first time trading suplexes instead of verses. This game proved that a licensed game did not have to feel like a quick cash grab, and Electronic Arts knew it had something special on their hands. Now let's fast forward only 1 year later, when the series reached another level. In 2004, Def Jam Fight for New York arrived. Now, this was my favorite game in the series, and I still play it today. A lot of people still call it one of the greatest fighting games ever made. Now, instead of making small improvements, the developers expanded almost everything. The roster became much bigger. Snoop Dogg, Busta Rhymes, Ice-T, Fat Joe, Lil' Kim, Sean Paul, and many more joined the fight. Even actors like Danny Trejo and Henry Rollins appeared in the game. Around this time, it felt like someone emptied the MTV studios into a wrestling ring. The story mode also became much deeper. You created your own fighter and worked through New York's underground fighting scene while building allies and making enemies. The choices added replay value, and they actually mattered. The combat
Man, I miss these days, bro. I miss these days. Oh man. Am I having a midlife crisis? Let me know in the comments.
it also improved. Now you could learn different fighting styles like kickboxing, wrestling, martial arts, street fighting, and submissions. Mixing styles created unique fighters that matched different playstyles. Even the environments became weapons. You could slam opponents into subway trains, smash them through windows, or throw them into cheering crowds. And they would even hold you while your opponent landed a hit. This was great and made every arena felt dangerous and alive at the same time. Now the soundtrack featured major hip-hop artists, of course, playing some big hits during the menus and while in a match. That of course I can't play in this video due to copyright. The character models look good for PlayStation 2 and the Xbox era. The voice acting gave every character personality. I mean, nothing about the game felt cheap. And if you ask me, Fight for New York became the peak of the franchise. And I know many fans of this game still play this classic today through original consoles and emulators. Then came the first warning sign. In 2006, Electronic Arts released
they had a PSP one? I didn't know about this one.
Def Jam Fight for New York, the takeover for PSP. It was a good solid portable version with new content and a few changes. People did enjoy it, but everyone wanted to know one thing. What would the next big console game look like? Well, the answer arrived in 2007.
Let me tell y'all this real quick. The reason why I was so disappointed in this game is because I literally signed up. Because back in the day, there was this company called GameFly. I don't know if they're still around right now or what they do. So what it is, it was kind of like Netflix when they first started. You had to rent the game. Then they'll send the game to you in the mail. You get to play it for however long you want and send it back. And they would charge you per month. I never thought I would sign up for that subscription service because I always had a video store down the road like Blockbuster or Family Video. They didn't have this game when it came out. So I signed up for GameFly just to get this game. They triple charged me for the subscription for whatever reason. And they were like, okay, we're going to refund you. They never refunded me. But I did it for this game. I got this game, the first 5 minutes I played it, I turned the system off. It was that bad. I'm like, what exactly did it do? The whole mechanic of the DJ thing was so stupid. Like, I don't get what happened.
Called Def Jam Icon. Now, this was supposed to move the series into the next generation. Instead, it became the game that nearly ended everything. Actually, it did end everything. So on the surface, Icon looked impressive. The graphics received a huge upgrade, character models looked realistic for the first time, the environments featured detailed lighting and destruction. It showed off what the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 could do. The problem started once we picked up the controller. The first thing we noticed is that the combat system had changed almost completely, and this wasn't for the best. The developers removed the wrestling-inspired gameplay that fans actually loved. Instead, now fights focused on timing, movement, and environmental hazards. And the music became part of the gameplay, meaning the beat of the soundtrack caused objects around the arena to explode or catch fire. Yeah, that might sound cool and creative, but while playing, I can tell you it never really felt fun. Horrible. Also, players struggled with the controls. That simplicity we had before, yeah, that was out the window. All the fights just felt slower and less satisfying, to be honest. What we wanted was more body slams. Instead, we got dance floor explosions. And the story, yeah, that also failed to capture the magic of Fight for New York. The create a character mode became much more limited. A lot of our favorite rappers disappeared from the roster. Now, true, some new celebrities joined the game, but the lineup no longer felt as exciting as before, and we really didn't like how the focus shifted away from the underground street fighting. I mean, the whole game just lost its personality. And
maybe I should replay it and see how I feel about it right now. But man, like I said, this game, I don't know who sat in the studio and was like, yeah, this is gonna be the one to save the franchise. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't.
The game's reviews reflected those problems. Critics did praise the graphics but questioned the gameplay. Fans of the series were even harder on the game than the critics. We felt that Electronic Arts had ignored everything that made the previous game successful, and the sales for this game was not good. Now, just like that, the series was in trouble. And there are several reasons why, as I have mentioned some, but the biggest was because they changed a winning formula. See, the first two games built a loyal audience by offering fast, satisfying combat. Instead of improving that system with the third game, the developers replaced it with something completely different.
Why
And
though?
I think us gamers know that we rarely enjoy losing the mechanics we already love. Another problem involved changing trends in music. Because hip hop changed quickly during the late 2000s, some artists featured in earlier games were no longer as popular. New stars arrived every year, so building a roster
Is that Tyson Bickford?
that stayed current became much harder. Licensing also became expensive. Using dozens of famous artists meant negotiating contracts with artists, labels, and managers. That
yeah.
process only became more complicated as the series grew. The gaming market also changed. We had more fighting games than ever before. Series like Tekken, Soul Calibur, and Mortal Kombat continued evolving. Even wrestling games kept improving. And
But that's why like when people keep saying like, oh man, they should bring back Def Jam. They should bring back a new version. This is the reason why I keep telling people that's never going to happen. Ever again, unless it's modded. And I've seen people do modded versions of Fight for New York, and it looks incredible. But for them to come out an official version, all those wrestlers that you got to get contracts with, all the licensing, it's not worth it. There's no way they're going to make a profit off of this in any way, shape, or form. Unless they just make a completely sandbox game and allow people to create the characters and possibly share them. But even then, they're going to have some, like, I don't know, like Pond 5 royalty-free music that nobody wants to listen to. And that's going to be even worse. That's going to be even worse. So, yeah, there's no way this is ever going to happen again.
Def Jam no longer stood alone. Electronic Arts also shifted its priorities. The company focused more on annual sports games, shooters, and larger franchises. So a struggling fighting series like Def Jam became harder to justify, and without strong sales, there was little reason to keep investing. So fans hoped for a fourth game, but it never happened. We hoped for a Fight for New York remake, and it never happened.
That's not going to happen
And I'm
either.
pretty sure we will never see this series return today because it would just be too expensive to make because of all of the license EA or any company would have to pay. But I can say, even after all of these years, people still talk about Def Jam. All the old heads remember owning these games back in the day.
All right, bro, you ain't got to call me that, man. Like, you ain't got to call me an old head. Just say that people who played it remember it back in the day. Why you got to throw insults?
Many younger players discover it through videos like this one and emulation. And at the end of the day, few games have managed to combine music culture and fighting mechanics that look, feel, and play this good. Well, minus Icon, but the first two are loved classics, and that makes Def Jam unique.
Yeah, keep shading Icon, bro. Like, I don't understand, man, what happened. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't like, but he never really explained like what happened as far as like why did they switch out the engine. Maybe the licensing, for, like he said, maybe it was too expensive for them to hire AKI back. I don't even know what AKI happened to. I don't even know what happened to them after that. I don't know if they, as a company, went down. Like I said, they made a game for GameCube, but again, that's around the time that the PS2 was out as well, and you know, before the Xbox 360 and PS3. So maybe they're not around anymore. That's crazy. But anyways, if you played Def Jam, which one was your favorite? What was your favorite character to play as? Let me know in the comment section. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a great day.